Good evening and welcome to the Coon Rapids City Council meeting for Tuesday, March 5th, 2019. If you would please join us as we rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please call the roll.
Councilmember Goscoviac.
Here.
Councilmember Kicker.
Here.
Councilmember Demmer.
Here.
Councilmember Geisler.
Here.
Councilmember Johnson.
Here.
Councilmember Wells.
Here.
Mayor Cook.
Here. Thank you. First item this evening will be to adopt this evening's agenda.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Demmer, second by Geisler to adopt the agenda. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Aye, opposed? The agenda is adopted. And we have guests from the Crooked Lake Area Association. We're already there.
Wow.
Do you wanna?
That was quick.
Absolutely. But stick around, you're gonna see how quick it goes.
All right.
Hi, I'm Joel Friday with the Crooked Lake Area Association. I'm the Coon Rapids Watchdog. We are here to just let everybody in the city know that we appreciate the funds that go towards keeping the lake up. The new park that you guys just had put in, I know it came out of my back pocket anyway, but it's nice to see that getting taken care of, and the new dock. And we were just over at the Polar Plunge the other day, and there's 20 inches of ice out there. They had big blocks of ice, and 1,000 people over there for that event. So it's a great recreational spot in the city. It's a pleasure working with you guys to keep it a nice place to live on, and to for others to come out, fish, boat, whatever they want to do out there. So just to introduce our president, Gary. Come on up.
Thank you, Joel. And I want a sincere thank you to the city of Coon Rapids and you folks for the help that you give us in working on our lake to keep it, improve the water quality and keep the invasive species at bay and so forth. We had meant to be here a couple of weeks ago in advance of our winter meeting, but due to circumstances we couldn't control, we weren't able to make it. But I did drop off a copy of our newsletter for each of you, and on there we had an invite to our winter meeting. So Brad Goscoviac was there, welcome, nice. And we had a couple other dignitaries, Peggy Scott and Jim Abler made it too. Pretty good attendance, quite frankly. And just a couple of...
For the record, could you get your name in here? I'm sorry.
Gary Narrison?
Yep, okay.
Yep,
Just
sorry.
for the record, thank you.
Okay. Just a couple of anecdotal things about our Lake Association. If you go way back, it's had fits and starts, but way back in the 60s, it was known as the Crooked Lake Civic Association. And then in the 90s, it was the Crooked Lake Homeowners Association. And then in the 2000s, it became the Crooked Lake Area Association. In 2007, we incorporated as a 501c3 corporation. So, I mentioned earlier, thank you for your cooperation, and actually Crooked Lake has become a bit of a poster child as far as the Minnesota DNR is concerned, and that's due to our work and the partnerships we developed. Partnership with the City of Coon Rapids, City of Andover, the Minnesota DNR, the Coon Creek Watershed District, Anoka County, all of them. So much so that last fall there was a Upper Midwest Invasive Species Conference in Rochester. This is a multi-state conference, about 750 attendees. And in some of the three of the presentations given by Keegan Lund from the DNR, James Johnson has his own company, he's a lake expert, Freshwater Scientific Services, and then Justine Dauphiné from the Coon Creek Watershed District. They said much the same thing and gave a brief history of all of the treatments that we have gone through over the years on Crooked Lake. And since our incorporation, we've developed a comprehensive lake management plan as well as a lake vegetation management plan. And that last part vegetation management plan, that enables us to treat more than just the 15% of the lake that the DNR would routinely allow. And having that then allows us to really keep the invasive species at bay, so. Any questions that I can answer for any of you?
I'm not sure. Well, Council, any questions from Mr. Neerson? No.
Thank you again.
Thank you. Thanks. Thank you.
Thanks for your leadership.
Yeah. It's nice when it's poster child meant in a good way. All right.
5 years ago, you wouldn't have said that.
Right. So now we are on to the approval of the minutes of the previous meeting. Councilmember Wells,
To approve the minutes.
Second.
motion by Wells, second by Johnson to approve the minutes of the February 19th, 2019 meeting. Any discussion or corrections? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye, opposed?
Abstain.
Those minutes are approved with one abstention, Councilmember Geisler. And now we are on to our big agenda this evening. Consent agenda. We have 3 items on our consent agenda, and the first is to approve an off-sale Class A liquor license for Sarwan LLC, 2929 Coon Rapids Boulevard Northwest. Sarwan LLC has purchased the liquor business at 2929 Coon Rapids Boulevard Northwest from Wiser Choice Liquor Incorporated. The investigation and license fees have been paid, and the certificate of liquor liability insurance has been submitted. The police department is currently conducting background investigations on the applicants, and Sarwan LLC is still in building lease negotiations. The issuance of the Class A off-sale liquor license is contingent upon successful background investigations and the submission of the signed lease agreement. So we're looking to approve a Class A off-sale liquor license for Sarwan LLC, doing business as Wiser Liquor, 2920, Wiser Choice Liquor, 2929 Coon Rapids Boulevard, conditioned upon receipt of a signed lease agreement, successful background checks, and final approval by the Minnesota Alcohol and Gambling Enforcement Division. Next item on our consent agenda, which is item 4 on this evening's agenda, is to consider a contract between the state of Minnesota and the city of Coon Rapids for the ICWC program, which is the Institution Community Work Crew program. So we're looking at approving the updated contract between the Minnesota Department of Corrections and the city of Coon Rapids for the 2-year Institution Community Work Crew ICWC program. I guess I should read. The proposed 2-year contract is $186,500 with biannual payments of $46,625. And our item number 5, which is the last item on our consent agenda, is to recommend reappointments and declare vacancies of the Charter Commission members. The terms of 8 Charter Commission members will expire the end of March 2019. Maurice McKee, Isla Fickner, Gerald Nelson, Milo Hartman, Carolyn LaCourcier, Gerald Splinter, Timothy Farmer, and Elizabeth Denon. 8 members are eligible, and 6 members are willing to serve another 4-year term effective March 2019 and expiring March 2023. Carolyn LaCourcier and Gerald Nelson are not seeking an additional term. So, state statutes require that a minimum of 7 and no more than 15 persons serve on the Charter Commission. Currently, the Charter Commission has 12 members. Of the Charter Commission, 8 members, we just went through that. So the council's recommendation for appointments are forwarded to the Honorable Douglas Meslow, Chief Judge for the 10th Judicial District, who makes the final appointment. So in closing, thank you to Gerald Nelson and Carolyn LaCourcier for their service on the Charter Commission. And this action will be to recommend to the Chief Judge for the 10th Judicial District that Maurice McKee, Isla B. Fickner, Milo Hartman, Gerald Splinter, Timothy Farmer, and Elizabeth Denon be reappointed to serve another 4-year term effective March 31st, 2019, with said term to expire March 2023. Council is also asked to declare 2 vacancies on the Charter Commission. And that's our consent agenda.
Your Honor,
Councilmember Kicker,
I make a motion that we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
motion by Kicker, second by Demmer to approve the consent agenda. Any discussion or questions? Councilmember Johnson?
How often does the Charter Commission meet?
It's required by statute to meet once a year, and that's been sort of the practice.
Standard.
The last couple of years, we have not had a whole lot on the agenda, so we've met our statutory requirement to meet once a year, and meet more frequently if necessary, if there are any actual changes to the charter that are recommended by the commission.
Okay, very good, thank you.
Councilmember Geisler?
And just for clarification, they can go to the website or contact our city clerk if anyone is interested in the Charter Commission. So love to have you participate.
Or any of our commission
And yeah, if
vacancies?
there are other commissions with vacancies.
All right, any other discussion?
Mayor,
Councilmember Griscoviac?
our Public Works isn't here tonight, but I did have a question maybe on the ICWC program agreement. I was just looking at the contract agreement and it looks like it's for a flat rate of, $186,000 for a 2-year term. I was just wondering, it seems odd that the rate isn't based on any actual work done or man hours performed. Do we have an idea of how many man hours or how many jobs were utilized under that program over the last 2 years? And if Public Works isn't here to answer, I could get a memo or something on it.
Mr. Stemwedel?
Mayor and City Council, I could certainly forward you, they provide us with an annual report, a day-by-day report on the type of activities that they perform. Essentially, though, it's 5 days a week, up to 10 members. Usually it's between 8 and 10 members that come out with a supervisor and perform duties. You'll find them often at places like the ice arena. Other city buildings are doing cleaning, manual labor, some limited landscaping sorts of things. Maintenance, recycling center, they do quite a bit of work as well. So it's really kind of 5 days a week throughout the year. And even in the winter, you'll find them shoveling and doing things of that nature. So we do get, it's from a, I guess I could calculate, I don't know off the top of my mind, sort of a value per hour standpoint, but I know it's a very efficient and effective program in terms of the amount of labor we get for the cost.
Okay, thank you.
Any other discussion or questions? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? And the consent agenda is adopted. And we are up to, skip ahead to open mic. I think we have an open mic participant tonight. That's the whole meeting.
Mayor, Council, Phil Rosa, 10640 Mississippi Boulevard. I'm up here because a couple weeks ago, we all seen a new concept plan for the Foley Boulevard rebuild, for lack of a better way of saying it. And I've spent the last month since that meeting working on a few of the problems that I'm going to have with some of my buildings. And I would just like to inform you, so you, going forward, you have a concept of what I was talking about. In the first thing, originally we were going to try to get our turn lanes in on Coon Rapids Boulevard. And with the new concept, not turn lanes, exit ramp off of 610. We're going to be on Coon Rapids Boulevard. And in fact, in anticipation of that, I believe the city bought one piece of property. That has changed, and as we all know, according to the latest plan, and that's going to be moved to East River Road. But I think when they were hurriedly putting this plan together, they kept a lot of the old stuff in it. That's probably not needed now, since the exit ramps are going to be exit and entrance ramps for 610 are gonna be off East River Road rather than Coon Rapids Boulevard. And one of the biggest problems that we're having with the stretch of property from Coon Rapids Boulevard to the park and ride is left-hand turn lanes. And I know it's always a problem. I've faced this problem all over Coon Rapids, but in this case, we had the Anoka County out to our properties, and we tried to work out a way going through the park and ride. And I don't know if you can see this or not. Can you see it?
Yeah, it's just leave it there, they'll zoom in on.
Okay. Our buildings, well, some of our buildings are down here, some of them are here, and some of them are here. So I'm on every corner of this piece of property. But the ones I'm the most concerned about are these three buildings right here. And
Phil, maybe you can grab the sheet and move it. Apparently they got it focused in, but they
Okay.
haven't, they couldn't move it to where you were.
would be these three buildings right here. There's
Sure.
three buildings
Yep.
right there.
Yep.
And I was trying to work on getting a left turn lane into that property, utilizing the park and ride. And then I realized, well, even if I get one in, it still doesn't solve the problem for dynamic engineering, my neighbor. And with dynamic engineering and my businesses, I'm sure this probably entails well over 100 jobs in the city of Coon Rapids. So it's something to really consider. And I just want to point out to what happens here. If a tractor trailer coming down Foley Boulevard cannot make a left-hand turn into those businesses, the only thing that tractor trailer can do is go down to East River Road, go on the 610 interchange, and go down to Noble, go up the exit ramp, come back, go up the exit ramp, go over the bridge, come back down the exit ramp, and then come back to Foley on the south, or go to East River Road, go up to Avocet, wind around through the residential properties, and come out on Egret and come back, or go down East River Road to 85th Avenue, go over to University, cross the railroad tracks, go down University to, I think it's 77th, cross the railroad tracks again, come back on East River Road, come all the way back up to Foley Boulevard to make a left-hand turn. And I think all of us would agree those three ways of doing it are pretty ridiculous. So I wasn't just concerned about myself, but I was also concerned about my neighbors. So I got to looking at this and I thought, well, we're no longer going to have the turn lanes. I keep calling them turn lanes, I'm sorry. The exit ramp and entrance ramp to 610 going east and west. We're no longer going to have those on Coon Rapids Boulevard. The only thing that's going to change from Coon Rapids Boulevard to the park and ride is putting a divide down the center. It's already 2 lanes going each way, and for 6 hours of the day, they're not used. Anybody that comes up Foley, they're only used during the peak times of traffic or not. So, and then I started looking at all the ancillary roads that have to be built because we're going to put this divide in. All of these roads up here in yellow and all of this yellow down here have to be built because of that divide. And then I got to thinking, even the guy from the highway department or Anoka County said he could lay down in the middle of Foley Boulevard for 6 hours a day and probably not get hit by a car. And I got to thinking about it. Why not just not build that section? It matches the section from Coon Rapids Boulevard to Highway 10 as far as people being able to make left-hand turns and so on. It's almost the same road, and that's not going to change. So my feelings are, why build it? We don't need it.
Okay.
And I'm just leaving you with that thought going forward.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor,
What?
could I
Yes?
ask one question? Sure. This is a county road project. Have you gone to the county board meetings, and are you going to provide them the same information?
Well, as everybody knows Doug Fisher, he wants to put a divide down every road there is within the community. Interestingly, with Doug Fisher, guess who has a left-hand turn lane in front of the highway department building? And
I understand. I just wanted to ask the
I'm
question.
going to be following through with this. I'm not,
Because
I mean, I have
there's
to.
limited control that we have on county projects.
Well, I think we have.
We have
pretty good-
municipal approval yet.
Yeah,
but
we
have
have
some.
a
not
pretty
given
big
on
say.
this,
Right.
but-
Also, the council did, after much lobbying by some of the owners, agreed to put a left-hand turn for one of the businesses. So one of the businesses may or may not be affected, but the fact of the matter is, it's unfair to the other one, or the other 3 or 4, because it's the same problem.
Okay,
So-
thank you.
It's just, I would like the council to at least consider it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Roser. Yeah, and that was a pretty preliminary look at that yet, so we've still got a number of meetings upcoming on that yet. Anybody else for open mic? All right, we'll close that portion of the meeting. And we're looking at other business. Councilmember Demmer?
School's spring break is coming up. So good luck on spring break. If you happen to be on spring break when there's a snowstorm, make sure someone's clearing out your driveway for you, doing it the right way, and they don't get you in trouble.
Wow, did you get in trouble?
Just, gotta make sure that you don't do it where they blow it all into the road and you get yelled at.
I hope they get yelled at.
All right.
It's one of the more frustrating things is when you see the snow from the driveway out into the road.
Right, so don't have your person who takes care of it while you're gone do it the wrong way.
It's almost as frustrating as driving around in the fall and seeing all the leaves blowing out into the street. I believe it's a violation of the same rule, pretty much. Yeah. All right. Other business? Mr. Stemwedel?
Mayor, Council, I'll mention that the Home Improvement Show is this weekend on March 9th from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Andover YMCA. It's sort of a joint venture with the city of Andover. If you're interested in doing some home improvement projects this spring or summer, it's a great opportunity to go out there. A lot of resources available, contractors and things of that nature, and it's free to enter.
I think they encourage a canned donation, don't they?
There might be something like
Food
that.
shelf?
Yeah.
They used to anyway. And then I know they have the, in the morning, they have the, like Home Depot or somebody comes in with the little kids workshops. So that's always fun for the kids and it's a great event. Okay, other business? Kudos to the streets department, good, and you know what, and to everybody. I know that everybody's out when the water main breaks. You've got a different crew outside working. You got the fire and police out there every day in that stuff. So thank you to all that are putting up with this bitter cold and all of the snow. And
I would like to say one thing on that as well. I have not noticed the amount of cooperation by neighbors that I've seen, as I have seen this year, where people have been out plowing out or helping their neighbors out with their driveways or that mountain of snow that we all get left with, when the snow plow comes through, and clearing out fire hydrants and shoveling sidewalks. And so for everybody in the city who's spent a little bit of extra time out there, thank you very much. It's really made a difference in the city.
I like the trend of the pictures of the fire hydrants shoveled out, showing up on social media, kind of encouraging people to make sure they're cleared out. And I like the picture of the fire department put of the one that they actually had to connect to. And thank you that it was dug out. It looked like it was just barely dug out enough, but They got the hoses on there anyway.
No, it's actually created almost like a little competition among the people in the city because people are doing a better job clearing them out now. So it's kind of neat.
Yeah. All right. Any other business?
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Motion by Johnson, second by Demmer to adjourn. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned.